Are you actually making money or are you just covering your costs? So, this is a bit of a brutal question that I just asked one of my mentees on a mentoring session I just finished. And when I asked the question, all I got back was crickets. And I'd like to say that this is unusual or this is unique, but so many of us business owners have no idea what we're actually making. And it's something that is for any type of business, any kind of demographic, and it's not that you're stupid or you're doing business wrong, but pricing is scary, and understanding your pricing is even scarier because then you have to look at your expenses and look at what you're actually charging. And there's so many issues about charging things because you then have to like understand your value of who you are, what you're providing your clients and customers and consumers, and the ultimate how you see the business. And it can be such a hard conversation. And I thought I'd come on today because it was such a simple question. In my mind, it was such a simple question. And the face that I got in return was shame, sheer panic, and oh, I've been caught. Because not only did this mentee not know if they were making a profit, they didn't really understand what I meant by covering costs. So, what I've written down a couple things that I just thought would be really handy for us to go through today. Because again, this is not unusual, and it's okay to not know the answer to are you making money or are you covering your costs? So, first things first, you need to understand what markup is. So every single business needs to have a markup in some way, shape, or form. A markup is simply just the difference between your costs and what you're charging. So let's say something costs you $5, you should be charging at least $10 so you can make a profit. You have to, out of the $10, you have to give away the $10 for the costs, and then you keep $5 for the costs, and then $5 for you to help keep the business growing, kind of thing. And it's really just padding. It's making sure that you have a sustainable business that can continue growing. And it's not you being greedy. It's you just making sure that you can keep the business going. So that's markup. Number two thing I think that people really get confused about or aren't really understanding is you might know what markup is, but you're not including it. So if you're only charging for your time, let's say you're a service-based business, if you're only charging for your time, an hourly fee, if you go, well, I used to be a bookkeeper and I used to get paid, $39 per hour. So I'm charging $39 per hour. That's great, but there's no markup being charged there. So you're only paying for your wage. You're not paying for the software you need to do. You're not paying for any sales and marketing you need to do, such as hosting for a website. You're not paying for subscriptions. You're not paying extra to keep the business going. You're just paying your wage. And again, it's not you being greedy. Without you actually charging a markup, you aren't able to reinvest it or pay yourself properly when growing your business. And with the client I just had, this was her issue, is she used to do what the business is, as an employee. And so she was like, oh, I'm just charging like $5 more than what I was getting paid. That's great, but it's not a proper markup to allocate all of the extra expenses that you incur by running a business. You're not an employee, you're a business now, and there is a difference. Another thing that I think is really important to understand is you need to understand your costs. So very first thing is what I said with the question was, are you making money or are you covering your costs? You won't know if you're covering your costs or not if you don't know what your costs are. So you need to actually go in and break down what you're paying on a monthly, weekly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually basis for all the things needed to run your business. That includes internet, that includes service for your phone, that includes a place to do it. You need to go in and really understand exactly what your costs are to ensure that you are charging the right price. It's the same for, let's do a product-based business. When you're selling a product, you need to know how much it costs to make that product and ship that product to you and store that product and then get it out to the client. You need to know those things because you can't possibly break down how much you need to charge until those things are actually documented. The next thing that I think is really important for people to know is you need to apply, once you actually know your costs, you need to then apply your markup. So as you can tell, today's session was all about markup. So understand your price, understand your markup, and then actually charge it. So understanding what you should be charging is one thing, but actually charging it is another. You need to make sure you take out the emotion from your charging, make it strategic, and just make it that this is the charge. That's what it is, and that's what it's going to be. And you need to hold fast to that, and you need to get aligned with it and comfortable with it. Then finally, you need to make sure that you're checking your prices regularly. Every single year, at the beginning of a new financial year, there's a cost per living increase and there is an actual minimum wage increase. Those two increases happen every single year. And that means you need to be checking your pricing to ensure that your costs, which will be going up because of those two increases, are still allowing you to make money. If your costs go up, your costing and your pricing for your consumers need to go up as well. So this has been a really long chat, but that's what happens when I just sit down and decide to do a video. If you want to learn more about this, know what profit is for your business, understand your costs, and understand the concept of markup, make sure you click the link in the description of this video. I've included it in there for you. It's a simple article that we've written with a little equation to help you with your pricing. It's one of those things, I could block it and not show it to anyone, but pricing is so important and you need to make sure that you're doing it right so that you can answer whether or not you're actually making a profit or just paying for your costs, or worst case scenario, not even covering your costs. Go through that document, check it out. Any questions, make sure you DM us or just send us an email. We're always here to help, and have fun growing your business.